The GOP candidates are laying low this Easter weekend, but the race certainly intensified this week after a swirl of personal comments and rumors escalated the feud between Donald Trump and Ted Cruz. The feud is now raising new alarms among Republicans about the party frontrunners, that would be Donald Trump's ability to win over women. Joining us now for a closer look at the GOP race, Bloomberg politics reporter Kevin Cirilli. Kevin, nice to see you. There's always been this long-running talk about Donald Trump and the gender gap. Certainly an issue perhaps in the primary, could be a critical Achilles heel in the general election. There's a lot of talk among Republicans about this issue. Is the Trump campaign worried about this issue?
They are not, despite a lot of the interest groups that I've seen attacking him on the comments that he has made about women. Seemingly that does register negatively among voters, but they are not, and here's why. They would welcome the contrast between the Trump organization's diversity rate as well as its rate with women and the opportunities that the organization has provided for women, really against anyone, including former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton's organization and what have you. So they seem to welcome that comparison. To them, this is about breaking down the barrier of political correct rhetoric. They see that as the larger takeaway here.
The one thing that we have seen this week is if the race couldn't get any more nasty and any more personal, it certainly did, with the tweets and the counter tweets, the pictures of Ted Cruz's wife and Donald Trump's wife, then this National Enquirer rumor story. The Cruz campaign, pretty much from the beginning, has said wives are off limits, and has stuck to that in large part. Trump campaign, not so much, and has continued to allow these things to come out. Why are we seeing the difference between those two philosophies?
You know, I think that people in Washington forget that Donald Trump doesn't play by their rules. He doesn't play by the same Washington playbook. He plays by his own rules. So while the Cruz campaign does make that argument, and again, whether or not you disagree with Mr. Trump's strategy, regardless, he plays by his own rules. I remember, though, Leland, just before Christmas, when I was interviewing Mrs. Cruz at an event when her husband was barnstorming across the country, and she said that she describes herself as the quote-unquote glue for the campaign. This is someone who is on leave from Goldman Sachs. She earned her Harvard MBA. She is someone who served in the Bush White House as someone who worked on NAFTA. Some of these policy arguments are things that her husband vehemently disagrees against. And so as she has emerged, as her top aide has said, is the closest thing the Republicans have to a Hillary Clinton, as that role continues to emerge, I think that she is going to face
Trump is saying she's fair game, essentially, because she's Melania stayed out of campaigning pretty much entirely. As we're watching this come down now to Wisconsin and then California, an interesting thing was pointed out by Chris Steyerwalt yesterday. We saw 3 new ads rolled out by the Cruz campaign. All of a sudden, these were policy ads. One was about his tax plan, one was about how he's a fighter, the other one was sort of talking about how people in America are worried. Is there a chance that this campaign, before it gets to the end, is going to shift to an issue of policy? If so, how does Trump overcome that?
Well, I think that would be awesome. I think voters are craving a policy debate. You know, I think that Donald Trump would love to talk about economic issues. I think that he has consistently, if you get him alone in an interview, he consistently does make the case about trade agreements. He talks about Dodd-Frank. He talks about many of these economic issues. But look, the bottom line is this thing is coming down to the wire. You know, Pennsylvania matters. California matters. This is every delegate counts. And if we head into a convention where 40% of anyone's supporters feels like this thing was stolen from them, that's a disaster for the Republican Party. And I got to be honest, there's a lot of pressure right now on the RNC leaders to make sure that people don't feel that this was stolen from them.
Well, and they're certainly feeling it. And if you look right now at the GOP nominee preference, Trump, this is nationally, latest Fox News poll, Trump 41, Cruz 38, Kasich 17. Who would have thought now at the end of March that you'd still have 3 points separating the top 2 guys? This is almost unprecedented.
Yeah, and I think we had a poll out just the other day where if you look at who Senator Cruz and Governor Kasich's second choice among their supporters, Donald Trump. And so a lot of jockeying going on right now, but it really is reminiscent of 2008 when Hillary Clinton, of course, battled then Senator Barack Obama.
History does not repeat itself, but sometimes it rhymes, said Mark Twain. Kevin Cirilli, thanks so much. Appreciate the insight, sir.
Thank you. Happy Easter.
Good seeing you.